Breaking news. There is a verdict in the case of R. Kelly. These are the federal charges against R. Kelly. Guilty on all counts. Julia Janae, who has been covering this trial live in Brooklyn, New York, share with us what has happened.
We received a note about 35 to 40 minutes ago saying that this jury had something regarding the verdict, and they did come into this courtroom and tell the rest of the courtroom and this defendant that he is guilty on all 9 counts against him. That includes the racketeering count against him that had 14 underlying offenses, where at least 2 had to be proven. That was proven to satisfy that count. And then all of the Mann Act violations, where he was accused and now convicted of enticement, coercion, and transportation of minors and of women across state lines for illegal sexual activity. Kelly in the courtroom completely stoic as those words were read by the jury foreman. He did not move. He was almost frozen in time as he listened to this long verdict reading here inside the courthouse in Brooklyn, New York. Ashley?
Julia, just like you mentioned, the 9 counts of racketeering. So the jury has found he engaged in illegal activity through a business or enterprise involving multiple Jane Does, some of whom have been named, who we know who they were when they testified. What was the response? That's a bad description. Did any of the jury members express, was there any noise from the jury as this was being read, or was it a quiet courtroom?
Very quiet courtroom. It looked different because some members of the public were allowed inside of the courtroom at that moment. The sketch artist, who has been basically only allowed to be in the overflow room during all of this, was allowed for this moment to be inside. We saw, of course, that heavy marshal presence that we typically see when there is a verdict that is coming. And you can hear outside now the supporters that are here waiting outside the courtroom, now learning that all guilty count as far as the verdict in this case, and reacting to that. So that was the mood inside of the courtroom. I only noticed one female juror who glanced over at R. Kelly as he sat at that defense table. But other than that, each of these jurors filed in, sat in their seats, and that jury foreman, number 1 in New York, it's whoever is number 1 in that seat becomes the foreman. They don't vote on it. He read it into the record, each time saying, "Guilty, Your Honor, guilty, Your Honor," going through, like I mentioned, 14 offenses under that count 1 of racketeering, and then the 8 other Mann Act violations here in federal court.